Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about consistency and what we mean with consistency on a training program. Because someone has said in the comments of a video I had done a while back that I'm wrong about consistency, that they know plenty of people who go to the gym consistently who look the same year after year and don't really get any results. And what I'm going to disagree with is the context in which I made that statement. And what I said was that people who are consistent, even on a mediocre program, who are extremely consistent month after month, year after year, will still get results, right? They'll continue to get results, even if the program's not that great. And some people don't understand what I mean by that. And the people you're thinking of, we all know who you're talking about. We're talking about the same guy who's been going to our gym for the last 5 years, who still does the exact same reps and sets on bench press every Monday. He still does 3 sets of 10 with 135. And on his Wednesday leg day, he still does 3 sets of 10 with 135 on the back squat, and so on and so forth. That's not being consistent in a program. That's being the exact opposite of consistent. People say, well, what do you mean? If you come and do the first workout of any program and you never follow the rest of the program, you're not being consistent. Because no program doesn't have you use progression, right? Every single training program has a progression pattern written into it. If it doesn't have a progression pattern written into it, it's not a training program. And I'm not talking about these bodybuilding.com or Flex Magazine quote unquote workouts, because those aren't programs. They're just a list of exercises and sets and reps, right? That's all that they are. That's not a program. That's not a training program. A lot of programs don't even tell you what exercises to do. Some people are going to be shocked at that statement. You're very new to lifting if you don't realize that, by the way. If you have been around the real lifting world for any length of time, you probably know that a lot of training programs out there don't even assign you specific exercises for general hypertrophy or general strength. They will literally have something like a slot for a vertical press. They will have a slot for a hip hinge. They will have a slot for an upper back pull. It won't say whether it's a pull up, a chin up, a lat pull down. It won't actually specify sometimes. Sometimes the hip hinge won't specify whether it's a Romanian deadlift, a stiff leg deadlift, a power clean, right? It won't always specify that. But what it will give you is a progression pattern. It will give you the actual programming. Okay, look at what the word program means, training program. The word program implies that something is programmed. Well, what's training programming means? It means your progression is plotted in. It will be loosely correlated with reps and sets, but it will generally involve determining how to increase weight on the bar, or the machine even, and I hate to use that word. It'll include how to increase reps, how to adjust volume. There is not one single training program that I can think of that would literally have you come in and do the exact same identical workout, even for the same exercises or muscle groups. Let's assume you're even splitting things up in that way, which I generally don't. Let's assume that you do. I have never seen even a mediocre written program that would have you come in for a month straight and do the exact same thing. There's going to be weight added. There's going to be adjustments to the training volume. Something is going to be manipulated every single workout. Something is manipulated in there in a training program. So if you're being consistent in a training program, you will always have progression happening. It might not be ideal progression. It might not be ideal volumes. It might not be ideal loading parameters, which would make it a not so good program. But you will progress. And let me give you a perfect example. I'll give you guys an example of a decent starting program that is completely inappropriate for intermediate and advanced lifters. Take something like strong lifts. You have 3 workouts 3 times a week in which you do 3 exercises. You rotate through a couple of those exercises, right? You do, I believe, I'm going to get this slightly wrong. It's going to be squat, deadlift, and the standing barbell press one day. And then the next day, workout B, and you alternate between these, is going to be the squat, the bench press, and like the pin lay row. On this particular program, you come in and you try to add 5 pounds every single time you do any of these 5 exercises on the 3 days, the 3 that you do each day on the 3 days a week. When you can't do it anymore, you reduce the weight a certain amount, and then you start the process over, and you continue this forever, right? Now, beyond the rank novice, that is not a particularly good program. In fact, we would call it a mediocre program for anyone with more than a few months of lifting experience, right? It would be a mediocre program. But you would make continual progress, and what would eventually happen, you would start stalling a lot, right? Because you're not going to add 5 pounds to a 5x5 over and over and over. You're going to stall all the time. In fact, on a program like that, you're probably going to stall and reset almost every single month on some of those lifts, which means you're going to have a continual seesaw effect in the lifts with a still slow general upward trend over the course of years. So in other words, there is no way you're ever going to use the same weight on the bar 2 workouts in a row. Never on that program. Not once will you ever come in and do the exact same weight on the squat or the bench press, the exact same workout you did before. So if you are being consistent on that program, there is no way that you are replicating the exact same workout close together. So if a person is coming in and just doing what people are talking about is that consistency, they're showing up and doing the exact same thing, they're clearly not following any program at all. Not even a badly written program. They're not following a program, because strong lifts would be an example of a mediocre program for anyone who's been training a few months. For a novice, it's pretty decent. It's pretty good. I would describe it as a good program. It's a solid program for someone who's learned the basic lifts and now wants to progress, but is very weak and has no real muscle and very minimal training experience, right? It would be a good program for them. Not a great one, a good one. I have better ones. And it's a bad program for an intermediate or advanced lifter, but they would still get results following it. Do you guys see the point? The people who you're talking about who are being consistent are not being consistent on any program. And that was the point that I made in that video. And that's the point that we need to drive home. That if you are consistent, and I mean 100% consistent, what does that mean? You never miss a workout. You never miss an adjustment based upon the programming as written. You follow the programming to the letter with no deviation. Doesn't mean you can't sometimes add some accessory stuff in. But if you follow a training program, even a mediocre one, to the letter, including its progression pattern, consistently, without fail, you will get results. You will get results because there will be a form of progression there, and it will be consistent. That will trump someone who is inconsistent on a better written program, who kind of takes it half-ass and misses workouts and just kind of changes it as they go a little bit with no real forethought, and they goof off. A perfectly written program will not produce the same results a mediocre one will with consistency. It won't be as good. So that's the point I'm making. So the people that people are thinking of who are consistent, they might be consistently going to a gym. They might be consistently doing resistance exercises. Notice I did not say training. They might be consistently exercising and not get results, but they are not consistently following a training program. And that is the point of that if you are consistent, and I mean 100% consistent on even a mediocre training program, you will still get results. And they might actually be pretty decent results. right? They might be pretty decent. And that's the difference about what we're talking about. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.